What's going on, guys? My name is G-String, and we're going to be doing a challenge today in Pokemon Emerald. This is going to be my first video on the channel, and for this challenge, we're going to be playing with the most hated team in Generation 3. Most hated team, it's a little bit subjective, you might think, but I think I got a pretty idea. I know there are a couple obvious ones and a couple other subjective ones, but I think I got a pretty good list going into this team. So, first, we got to start off with Wingull, one of the most hated Pokemon along with Luvdisc. Spinda, there's another honorable mention that made it into the team. Swalot also made it in. Spoink made it into the team, and Illuminese. So these are going to be the 6 Pokemon. Illuminese could have been switched out for Voltbeetle with Illuminese for this run, and we're going to see how this team ends up working. So the rules for this run: no held items, none of that cheese. We're not going to let that happen in this run. No items in battle, no restores, none of that. And no HM Slays. All these Pokemon can learn the moves that we need to progress in this game, so there's no need for any HM Slays, fortunately. So we are starting off naming ourselves G-String. That is my name, so of course, gotta go by G-String. We're gonna listen to the professor blabble on a little bit as we get into Little Root Town. So we're gonna start off this journey by saving Professor's butt by going into his bag, jacking one of his Pokemon, and we're gonna see what I decided to choose first. So due to the Pokemon randomizer, we put Luvdisc in there. I decided to put Luvdisc in there because it's a late game Pokemon that you get, and it was one of the few Pokemon that we actually have to choose from that is weak to one of these starters' typings. A lot of these Pokemon actually don't have many weaknesses to fire, water, grass, and Luvdisc was one of the only ones. And I didn't want to choose Wingull because you can catch Wingull in this route anyway, so there's no point in adding him as the starter Pokemon. So after taking out the Zigzagoon, we end up going back to Professor Birch's laboratory so he can go talk to us about the wonders of Pokemon, and he can eventually actually give us this Luvdisc for us to keep for ourselves. And this is our first team member, and what are we going to name this Luvdisc? We end up naming it Satan, the most ironic name for something that's shaped like a heart. So after Professor Birch gives us our Pokemon, we go up to the northern route and we go and fight May. This is the first of many rival battles we will be having in this run. And honestly, they will all be very similar, as we will find out later in the game. So Trico, he just tries to use Lyros on a couple times. We end up knocking him down after a critical hit to a sliver of health. He hits us pretty hard, but we end up taking him out. So May, first battle, not a big issue. This ends up being a pretty common theme throughout the rest of the game, so May is actually not going to be a big problem for us. Good thing after this is we are going to be adding our second team member. We are going to be adding Wingull to the team. He will be our flying water type, and we will be naming him Moist because Wingull is a moist boy, isn't he? After that, we go and meet with Daddy to go talk to Wally and help him catch Ralts, and Daddy is going to be telling us how the rest of this journey is going to be going and that we need to go to Rustiboro City. However, unfortunately, while on our journey to the Rustiboro Gym, we end up encountering a Team Aqua member. Shocking, this happens multiple times in this game. Unfortunately, we do end up having to battle him. However, he's not really a problem. We take out his Poochyena pretty easily. So, not really a big issue fighting these Team Aqua members. They are never really a problem. So, they're just a little bit of a nuisance. We'll get past them, no problem. However, after this, we end up getting to the first gym. We get to Rocks, and we are going to be battling for the Stone Badge. Now, you're thinking, 2 water Pokemon. This run, no problem. Seriously doubt you'll get killed by anything. Well, yeah, Nosepass took us out with a couple of rock tombs, and we end up fainting, unfortunately. However, the second time when we fight Roxanne, we end up sweeping basically her whole team. So we see the Geodude, we hit it with a water gun, one-shot it, no problem, super effective. The next Geodude comes out, and we knock it also out with a water gun, no problem, not a big deal. However, next we move on to the Nosepass, which took us out last time, but this time we are prepared. We are not underestimating the Nosepass. We will be taking care of it. So we knock it down with a couple of water guns. It uses a potion 2 times just to stall us out, but we're not going to be having any problems with this Nosepass this time. So we take it out, and we end up defeating Roxanne and getting the Stone Badge. So what a great start to our journey. Next up, we got to go through this cave and save another Wingull. unfortunately, and we take out this Poochyena from the Team Aqua Grunt, and we end up saving the old man Swingle. He promises that he will bring us on his boat to the next town, but first we gotta get a letter because we gotta give it to Steven, the real champion of the region. And before we do all this, we actually have to battle May once again. Now, I don't know what the optional battles are in this game, so I don't think I did any of them, but I just did all the rival battles I could. I didn't really need them. So number one, we go up to this Wingle, we take it out with a critical hit. Satan taking out the Wingle, how ironic is that? Next up, Trico comes in. He actually takes us out with a quick attack. Trico actually takes us out with a quick attack, so we actually have to battle May all over again. Surprisingly, we leveled up a little bit, we grinded a little bit. Figured we were a little bit too weak to take out Trico, until I realized that all Moist had to do was just learn Wing Attack, and we were going to take out Trico no problem, which that's exactly what we did. So, the old man puts us in his boat, and we head to Dufert to go first give Steven the letter, because he's a very important man, and we challenge the second badge. So, I'm going for the second badge. We're playing up against Brawly. So he has the fighting gym, and he starts off with Machop, and honestly, we did not stand a chance. We basically got smacked. I did not expect to have this much trouble with the first gym. We end up taking out Machop, and we do take out Metatite because it was just trying to use Focus Blast or Focus Punch, and it was not really doing us a whole lot of damage, but Makiyuda took us out. I decided we need to go grind a little bit more just so that we can have a better chance at battling this gym. So we got a quick little montage of me taking out a couple of their Pokemon, and next time around, still couldn't do it. Still weren't strong enough. Even at level 21 for Satan, level 17 for Wingle, we were still getting taken out, so we had to go grind some more. We had to get Wingle up to an even higher level. So Moist comes out there, he takes out Machop, no problem this time around. Metatite gets sent out. It's just going to tighten its focus the whole time, so we take it out with Water Gun. Makiyuda ends up taking out Moist, but we send Satan in and he knocks it out with a Water Gun, or may I say she, and that will give us the second gym badge. Next up, we gotta go to the boathouse, and more Team Aqua members come, and we take them out no problem, and we meet for the first time Archie, the leader of Team Aqua. This is not the last time we will see him, unfortunately, as Team Aqua tries to flood the entire world. Fortunately, we catch our third member. We catch a Gulpin that will eventually evolve into Swalot, and we go ahead and name him Ivan, because honestly, his evolved form looks like Ivan Ooze to me. He ends up actually being the fourth team member, so our team's looking pretty good. Next up, we got to battle May. This actually is the battle I was most worried about, because this battle with May can be quite tough, I will admit. However, we end up taking out Wingle pretty easily. Not really having a whole lot of issues with that. Grovyle gets sent in, we hit it with a Wing Attack, and it's super effective, and he does not heal up. May does not heal up, so we take out the Grovyle, and next up we take out Slugma with a Water Gun. So this battle went surprisingly smooth. I actually was very surprised. Usually this battle doesn't go very well for me, and after this we kind of realized that May's not going to be a big problem the rest of the game. It ended up being a piece of cake. Next up we got Wally over here. He just has a Ralt, so we're not having any troubles with him. He's just a little boy, you know, he's not really going to be able to do anything. On the route next door to the third gym, we actually catch a Loomise, and we name her Ladybug because I think Loomise looks like a ladybug, so that's a little bit obvious. We grind a little bit more in the grass, and our Wingle Moist Boy himself turns into an even moistier boy by becoming a Pelipper. Big boy Pelipper. He actually is another one of the most hated Pokemon, funny enough, which I learned while trying to make this video. Now, this gym, Wattson, that man's face, he laughs at how many times he smacked me, because I must have battled Wattson 50 times, at least, because I just could not beat him. This Magnetone got me stuck so much. I just couldn't do it. I had to go grind some more, and I had to get Ivan to turn into his final form of Ivan Ooze himself, because I couldn't do it. I had no answer, because he was just one-shotting Moist every time I brought him in, and he was just taking out Satan like it was nothing. I tried to actually Toxic Stall with Ivanus, but I mean, he couldn't do anything. Ladybug couldn't do anything. And the one run that I actually did kill it, I got to Manectric and I couldn't do anything because he just paralyzed me every time. But we ended up actually finding a way to get this dub. After so long, after training so much, we got Ivan to level 33 and Moist to level 29. We actually ended up putting it to sleep, putting the Magneton to sleep. And we took out the Manectric pretty easily after that, after putting him to sleep. He kept on using Hyper Potions to revive, but eventually we got past Wattson. Definitely one of the most challenging battles I've ever had in this game. And this is off screen, I actually forgot to record this, but we did catch a Spinda, just so that everyone knows. Oh yeah, and we also named it Drunk too. Next up, we got to see Team Magma and Team Aqua meet for the very first time in the caves, and we go up and we meet Maxi, the leader of Team Magma. So we start this battle off, and again, he's not really a big issue. We're actually very over-leveled by battling the third gym leader, so we take out his Pokemon no problem. Especially the camera ups, that's definitely not ever going to be an issue for our team, considering we have 2 water types, so Maxi really for the rest of this game isn't going to be a whole issue to us, not really going to stand a chance to us considering he has that camera up and he's got mostly fire Pokemon. But next up we catch Spoink. Spoink is the final member of our team. He's actually on the Jagged Pass, which is just below where we met Maxi. Next up is the 4th gym, Flannery. Yeah, just to make this one short, she's a fire type gym leader and we swept her whole team. Not a whole lot to say about this one. This one was pretty easy. The only Pokemon that stood a chance was Torkoal, and we took it on 2 shots, so. Next up, we move on to the 5th gym, the normal type gym, which we are battling Daddy Darling himself. And this gym actually was a little bit more difficult than I anticipated. We ended up taking out the Vigoroth, but we did hang on. This is actually the best part of the battle. We got up against this Slacking, and I was really worried about the Slacking. But we end up protect stalling him and beating him because of its loafing ability. So I thought this gym was actually going to be pretty hard, but it ended up actually being pretty manageable as well. A little bit. So we end up beating Dad, getting the 4th gym badge, and we have to go deal with Team Aqua again. But now it's time for the next rival battle with May. She starts off with a Slugma. We take it out pretty easily with Moist Boy. Moist Boy goes in, takes out the rest of her Pokemon with Wing Attack, and we take out May as she gives us Fly. So now we can fly around the map. Fortunately, Bouncy Boy ends up evolving into Mega Bouncy Boy. Grumpig, I believe its name is. Yes, it is. And after that, after a little bit of grinding, we end up going to the Flying type gym, Winona. And she's doesn't actually have that challenging of a team. We actually swept through her pretty easily. We beat her on the first try. Altaria almost knocked us out with Earthquake, but we knock her out with a Psybeam. Ivanus comes in, sees Pelipper, and he hits it with the Sludge, ends up poisoning it. And last but not least, Skymory. We actually put it to sleep and knock it out with Moist Boy himself. And that is the 5th gym badge for us. So far, really only the 3rd gym was the gym that we've had a big problem with. Every other gym's been a pretty easy battle. We gotta get through this other rival battle with May, take it out with an Ice Beam, no problem. Slugma gets taken out. Basically, Moist can take out her entire team by himself, so these battles with May become pretty easy at the end of the game because she just doesn't have any counter to Moist because he is a very moist boy. But May ends up leaving us. We gotta go find Archie, and he ends up taking the orb, and this old lady ends up giving us the Magma emblem. And we end up finding Maxi, and he seems to be awakening Groudon, which he ends up doing, and Groudon ends up flying over the sky. I don't know where he ends up going to, but everyone gets all confused, and this continues the story. Oh, we actually have to fight Maxi as well. Again, he's not a problem. We just take him out with Moist Boy, because Moist Boy's an absolute beast. After taking out Maxi, he gets upset and walks away, and cries in a little rage as we smack him for the 3rd time. But we end up moving on to the 7th gym, Tate and Riza. They have a Psychic type gym. which ends up being pretty tough at first, not gonna lie. We're not leveled up enough, so we actually end up having to go grind a little bit in the grass to improve Bouncy Boy's level so he can end up taking him out. So the second time around, we end up getting Moist and Bouncy Boy up to a high enough level to be able to take him out pretty easily. Surf was a really big help actually in this battle, considering that Soul Rock and Lunatone are rock types, so actually didn't really need that much help. So we end up meeting Steven. He's got to go fight Team Magma again, and we ended up carrying him the whole time. I don't want to show the battle because it was basically just a carry fest. So we go dive down with Love Disc. We use our Pokemon, and we dive back up to find the Team Aqua. The Team Aqua hideout, where we go inside and find Archie as he tries to go awaken Kyogre. Cause a whole lot of problems right here, but we took him out pretty easily. Moist is a flying type, so Fly was able to take out Sharpedo and the rest of his team. Again, most of these team leaders really aren't a big challenge to us. They just like to cause a lot of hectic issues by awakening all these ancient Pokemon, so that we end up getting things like this. So Satan goes underwater, and we find Kyogre and Groudon fighting. And we gotta go Rake and Rayquaza himself, the GOAT himself. After Rayquaza flies off, he takes out Kyogre and Groudon, and we got to get to the 8th and final gym, who is Juanito himself. Juan has a water-type Pokemon. We end up teaching Ladybug Thunderbolt and Giga Drain, so the water gym ended up not being too big of an issue. We end up sleeping through it pretty quickly just because Ladybug has a pretty powerful Thunderbolt. Ladybug ended up not actually being used that much in this team, not at least until the end of the game when I taught her Thunderbolt and Giga Drain. But Ivan comes in, he takes out Crawdon by poisoning him using Sludge. Kingdra comes in. We end up killing him with Moist Boy by hitting her with Ice Beam, getting a critical hit, lucky critical hit. And we take out Juan, because his name is Juan. And we get the 8th gym badge, the Rain badge. So we are able to take on the Elite Four now. But before we go to the Elite Four, we must face Wally. Now, is Wally a big problem? No, Wally is not a problem. We take out Altaria with an Ice Beam. He sends in Magneton, which, although was a problem earlier, not a problem now because we have Bouncy Boy. Delcatty gets taken out with Psychic. Our team's actually pretty well leveled for this fight. Gardevoir comes out, and we end up taking out Gardevoir with 2 Shadow Balls, lowering the special defense actually in the process, and taking it out with a critical hit. Now Roselia comes in. We just hit it with a Psychic, knock it out one shot, super effective. And to move on to Wally's last... And that ends up being Wally's last Pokemon, so we defeat him on our route to the Elite Four. Now, this is our team going into the Elite Four. It's a pretty good team. We leveled them up a good amount, so we are actually going to start battling them. So we start off by battling the Dark-type Elite Four first. The first Elite Four member, Sydney. I underestimated him a little bit. I thought that Drunk could just use Brick Break and fight through his whole team, but we ended up actually using Ice Beam on a lot of the Pokemon. And the Crawdon ends up taking out one of our Pokemon, but Drunk comes in, uses Brick Break a few times, and Drunk holds on, takes that Surf, and knocks off Crawdon to get us the first win of the Elite Four. Phoebe is next. She's the second Elite Four member. She has Ghost and Dark type Pokemon. So she starts off with the Dusclops. Dusclops is quite a tanky Pokemon, so we were not actually able to defeat Phoebe. She actually bested us the first time, so we battle her again. Bouncy Boy comes in. He ends up being the lead for most of these fights because he is very strong, actually. We actually had to level up our Pokemon a little bit because we were just getting beat by her. So we leveled up most of our starters, Moist and Bouncy Boy, to level 55. Everyone else is around level 50 at this point. We had to grind a little bit more just because I could not take out these Dusclops as they were so tanky, and I didn't have any moves that could lower special defense outside of Psychic, which sometimes lowers special defense, but Through this next one, using Moist, we were able to take out most of her team. Alongside Bouncy Boy and Sableye comes out. Last, we almost take it out with Surf, and we end up missing Ice Beam, but we hit it with the second Ice Beam, holding on just to get the second win. So that is Phoebe out of the way. Next up is Glacia. She's the third Elite Four member, and honestly, she really wasn't that big of an issue. We have Ladybug in the back who can just use Thunderbolt. So usually Ladybug could just two-shot most of her Pokemon. Glalie gets taken out with the Surf by Moist Boy. Silly gets taken out by two Thunderbolts by Ladybug, and Moist Boy is taken out, but Bouncy Boy comes in and uses Psychic to take them out. Now, Whalering, we end up putting it to sleep with Ivanooz himself. Ladybug uses a couple of moves. Giga Drain, in fact, gets taken out, but we send in Bouncy Boy and confuse it, and then use Psychic and take it out. And that is the third Elite Four member out of the way, Glacia. Now on to Drake. Now, Drake was an absolute cakewalk. Drake has all Dragon Pokemon and Moist knows Ice Beam, and Ice Beam is 4 times effective against a lot of his Pokemon, so we only had to switch out a couple times just for this Kingdra to take it out, and we ended up getting paralyzed, but take out no problem nonetheless. And with that, we finish off the 4th Elite Four member, Drake. However, we still have Wallace, and Wallace was a nightmare. Wallace, I must have battled him for 2.5 straight hours. Number one, I could barely get past Gyarados because every time I went up against Gyarados, I couldn't one-shot it. And it always used Hyper Beam against Ladybug, and without Ladybug, I could not do this run. If it wasn't Gyarados, it was Milotic. Milotic knows Toxic and Recover. So if you don't have a Pokemon that's strong enough to two-shot it and to hold on, it would just stall, use Recover and Toxic, and you had no chance. And even this Ludicolo, I did not think this Ludicolo would be a problem. I ended up getting a pretty good run with our team. We knocked out the first 3 Pokemon without any damage being done to us. We come in and Whiscash takes out Ladybug. Bouncy Boy gets taken out eventually. He can't knock out Whiscash because Whiscash takes him out with a Hyper Beam. And this run ends up falling apart because Drunk ends up being the last Pokemon, moving on to Satan, and we just don't have the strength with Satan to take down Milotic because it's a water-breathing water-type Pokemon, and it's just going to stall us and just use Toxic, so we can't do anything. So I ended up just doing the easy thing and just teaching Bouncy Boy Calm Mind, and I was so sick of getting beat all the time that when I went in for this last run, I just used Confuse Ray, Calm Mind 2 or 3 times, and just swept the whole team. Yup, that's literally the game-winning run, is me Calm Minding 2 times, allowing Wailord to hit itself in confusion, and then just using Psychic. I was so lucky because on this last run, I only had 6 PP of Psychic left. So I had just enough Psychic to take out the entire team. And that's what we ended up doing with Bouncy Boy. Bouncy Boy ended up being the lifesaver after grinding, after just getting so fed up with battling Wallace that I just had to do it to him. I had to teach him Calm Mind, and that Calm Mind ended up saving my life, and we take out the champion Wallace, and now we are the champion of the Pokemon League. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what about Steven? This run can't be possibly over. I was so fed up with this run that I could not battle Steven. I just did not want to grind anymore. This is a very challenging experience, one of the hardest challenges I've ever done. That's the Hall of Fame. That's a bunch of ugly ass Pokemon right there, and I sure hate all of them, but this was a really great run. I really enjoyed this. I actually really enjoyed making this video. It's been a long time. I spent a lot of time on this, obviously 43 hours grinding the whole time, but I think we ended up getting a pretty good run. We ended up being able to beat the game with the most hated team Pokemon. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you like it, like the video. If you didn't like it anyway. And that's it. I will see y'all later.